Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, it's Sejohn. How are you, Siege?
Doing okay, but we are clearly starting on a somber note.
Yes. I'm glad. See, and they said, my acting teacher said I could never convey sadness. But
Well, that's
Siege
because
had
they
got
also
that I
thought you
was
were a
being
psychopath.
somber. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. I am coming to this 443rd episode of the Say Report with a heavy heart, Sejohn, because they have announced for release, physical release in Japan and all of the Asian territories, River City Girls Complete Collection, which includes River City Girls 0, River City Girls, and River City Girls 2. Now, you don't generally do a complete collection if there's going to be a River City Girls 3. And it's weighing on me, man. It's really been weighing on me. No, not really, but I wanted to start the episode with this. So I'm like, we got to start with something sad. And it's...
First of all, I would argue about the complete collection concept necessarily being a nail in the coffin. It is definitely definitive of how the company feels about things, but nowadays, you don't know. 10 years from now, there's going to be somebody that picks this shit up and runs with it, right? But the other thing is that we have talked extensively on this show about how conceptually and gameplay in some places, that series has maybe reached its peak and kind of started to fall off a bit. We are no strangers to that conversation.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Well, the first thing is I'm trying to log into my Play Asia account because I recently bought from them. I think I remember the password. I don't go to Play Asia half as much as I would want to. But this is where it is. And I guess the reason why we started is that, oh my God, they're doing a complete collection. That must mean the end of it. That was the feeling online. That was how people reacted to it. And I'm thinking, how many times have they done a complete collection and then later on they'll do another one? I think every time they do a Fast and the Furious, even when they've announced that a new movie is coming, they'll be like, but here's the complete collection as of right now.
I mean, yeah, they do with everything, right? The funniest one is fucking the Game of Thrones books. Like they keep boxing those motherfuckers together, even though they're supposed to be. They don't end. Essentially,
they're supposed to be working on the finale, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, like, like I said, it is definitely a sign of where the company kind of feels things are right now, right? Is this idea that, like, okay, we're gonna just kind of package this thing up, and that will be the way people interact with this thing for a bit while we cool our heels on it. But even then, I don't think that means that they're necessarily completely against it in the future. It's a sad state for you. I'm so sorry.
No. I mean, the other thing that it made me think of is the fact that, like, I don't really care about the fact that it is. Because as you already said, right, we've had these long, in-depth conversations about the first game is still a masterpiece. I still think that the first River City Girls game is very, very good. Even in the original state where the ending made me feel betrayed by the company. And not so much the ending, but the fact that working through to get the good ending, the true ending of the game, all it got me was the same ending, but a different boss fight. Like, that felt like, oh, we ran out of time, but we wanted to release it. And then historically, River City Girls 2, in Asia, they're like, oh, we're releasing this game. We don't care that it's not done. And the first version of that game that I played was missing cutscenes, was missing boss fights. And then, I don't know, I played through it not recently. I have not played through River City Girls 2 again. Even when we did, like, the Double Dragon stuff, like I downloaded the Double Dragon DLC, I'm like, I'm going to finish the game, and I didn't. I got through the first boss fight and said, you know what? I know enough about what this is. It's another lazy addition from the people at WayForward, and I don't want to be WayForward, but they are the driving force behind. Who I'll be mean to, I'll be completely mad to it, is Bandon Rudis. I do not like his style of creating games. And I don't like that River City Girls 2 is just River City Ransom Underground, but remade with modern stuff. Like, Bannon Rudis was, given the chance to do River City Girls 2. River City Girls, he works on the first game. They create this whole new world, reinvigorate a franchise that was long since dormant. And then his first thing is, we should take that game that was a terrific failure and use that as the basis for the next game. And, it's still a terrific favorite. The last time I played through the game, the full game, it was with Claude, listener of the show, friend of me in real life. He's busted with us a couple of times.
Yes.
Ghost busted.
Quite good at it.
Right? He's very good at it. Yeah. That's because he's not on keyboard and mouse. Zach from This Toy Makes Me Happy is the one who's on a keyboard and mouse. But yeah, so Claude's very good. Claude sat down with me, and there was a mod of the PC version of River City Girls 2 that made it the arcade mod. So rather than have to run all over the city whenever you completed a room, it just warped you to the next room where something happens, which was kind of cool, right? And honestly, if the creators of the game cared, and that's not if they wanted to, maybe have people play their game again, because the big problem with River City Girls 2 is that it is super fucking long. River City Girls, the first one, it is 6 little areas. It is a nice tight package. Dale and I have completed it in 90 minutes. That's what you want for a beat 'em up,
or right. Turtles at the arcade, right? Is he you're going to drop a couple of quarters in, but you can get through this today.
Yeah, River City Girls 2. Every single time you think you've completed something, they're like, but one more thing. And it's at this time, no, not one more thing.
Is the Complete Collection adding anything in that regard? Like any new DLC or anything that's coming out alongside it? Or any,
That's why I was trying to get into my PlayAsia account. And while we've been talking, I was able to get in. On December 30th, 2023... I purchased from PlayAsia, because this was a released multi-language, but for the Asian territories, River City Girls 1 and 2. For the Nintendo Switch, I have, on a card, the full River City Girls 1 and 2 games. So what the Complete Collection is adding is River City Girls 0. So basically the relocalized Banka game that we talked about, where Kyoko and Masako were originally introduced and are killed at the end of the game. I mean, they get better, but they get shot, and you're led to believe that they die, right?
They get better, but yeah,
they got better. Dale and I, the way that we grokked, I probably shouldn't have used the word grok. Apologize.
They can't steal everything from us, Devon. God damn it!
But Grok called himself Mecha Hitler this past week, Sejohn. Maybe they can't steal everything from us, but maybe we should try not to use the term of the would-be wannabe AI overlord as it announced itself 6 days ago, right? 5, right? Yeah, Tuesday rentals would be due back on Sunday. I'm sorry. That's how my mind still works. But yeah, so...
You just went Manchurian Candidate on that shit. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine about it. I really did.
The Winter Soldier has awoken. What do you...
But the way Dale and I came to terms with the fact of the original ending of River City Girls, before a year later they added a different ending for the true playthrough of the game, was that the game was taking place while they are in a coma after being shot by Sabu. And that worked for us for a while. But clearly that's no longer the case. So it does include the way forward relocalization of that game, Banka, which is fine. And then it also includes the DLC, including the Dragon Brothers. So I paid $40 to get both games on a cart. Let's see. River City Girls is what I'm going to type in to PlayAsia right now. The complete edition is going to be $50. So for the extra stuff that you're getting, it's only adding $10 more to it, which is not bad, because the Double Dragon DLC was about $10, and they charge $20, I believe, for River City Girls 0 when it first released. Also, they're doing a first print edition. You know what? No, works on all systems sold worldwide. Correct regional account may be required for online features. It seemed real weird the way that was worded initially. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that because it kind of, I'm sad that there's not going to be another one, but also why am I sad that if there's not going to be another one? Because the second one really did kind of kill the franchise.
Well, like I said, I don't think this is the end of River City Girls. As you mentioned, it revitalized a genre, at least in the more popular zeitgeist. I know there were people that were still deep into those games all along. And I think that part of the reason why it's okay that for me that we're sitting here ripping on this stuff is that they're also quite successful. So we can talk all we want about how we feel about the quality of what came out, but at the end of the day, the reason that they are even willing to put together a complete collection is because they know that there are people out there that'll buy it. They are making money on these things.
Yes.
So they're never going to turn away from it completely as long as they can keep making cash on it, right? Now, does that mean that they might just re-release the complete collection a million times in perpetuity for the next decade and a half? That's which seems to be the way of things in the industry nowadays. Yeah, probably. Every new console will probably get their version of the complete edition, but at some point I bet that somebody will dive back in and pick up the ball, and we'll see a River City Girls 3 or River City Girls Rebirth or some nonsense.
Yeah, River City Girls Rebirth. I like that one. And the other thing that is important is the fact that is only coming to Switch. They're not doing this complete collection for all systems. This is very, Japanese fan base coded. Which also tracks because, we got River City Ransom in the US, and then we got, Clash at Demon Head or Super Dodgeball. Those are in the same series as River City Ransom, but we didn't get a proper River City game, released in the US under that title until River City Girls. And now they've had a lot of success re-releasing all that stuff that never came to the US. But you're not wrong. Even though I have my complicated feelings about it, and they are complicated, right? Dale and I still, instead of swearing on the Bible or swearing on our mother's grave, swear on our former River City Girls world record. Because, we had it for a while. We had the world record clear of 2-player co-op hard mode, and that felt really cool. We had it for 11 months. So, I do care about it. And I hear, this releases on September 4th, and I'm like, oh, so it is almost exactly 5 years since the game released. I think 2019 is when the first one came out, so it's 6 years. But because September 5th was the original release date of River City Girls, which is also crazy to think that I've been complaining about this game on the show for 6 years. Thank you, Sejohn. You are a saint. And thank you to any audience members who are still sticking with us through all of the River City Girls complaints. But, when you say it revived the genre, Streets of Rage 4, that came out 6 months afterwards. And I think one of the reasons that people were ready for it was River City Girls. Then Shredder's Revenge and all of that. And now they're finally doing a new Scott Pilgrim game, Scott Pilgrim EX, or just X. I'm not sure what it's supposed to call. And while everybody compared the first one, Scott Pilgrim vs. World, the game that came out in 2010, inspired by River City Ransom, this new one, you've seen the trailer for it, right? Have you seen Scott Pilgrim X?
I have. I'll be honest. I for most of the trailer thought it was a basically remaster of the other one.
That's understandable. Don't feel bad about feeling that way. But as I watched it, I'm like, oh, it looks even more like River City now, which made me pretty happy.
Yeah.
So yeah. And also kind of feels like it's got a little bit of that Double Dragon Gaiden in it, with the fact that there are rival gangs that you're going to fight and everything. So I'm excited for it. I am 2026, and it's Tribute Games, right? They're the ones who gave us Shredder's Revenge. So we're going to be talking about that when it released. Still doesn't have a release date other than 2026. But yeah, River City Girls did what it was supposed to do, but to see the complete collection, and like you said, it's got to be popular because there were enough people online lamenting, that means that there's not going to be a third one. Thanks, Sejohn. I'm glad that we had this conversation.
Of course.
I also wanted to talk about a superhero. He wears red and blue. You know who I'm talking about. Without further ado, I want to talk about Spider-Man briefly.
Okay, let's do it. You bastard. Okay, let's do it.
Are you familiar with the Spider-Man theme song from the original 1967 cartoon?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're really going to talk about is...
Spider Pig. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So there is, near the end of the song, we listened to it yesterday, right? We went out for breakfast yesterday, and we just were listening to random liked songs from Dale's Spotify, and she liked the Spider-Man theme song. And I'll admit, I have not listened to the full Spider-Man theme song from 1967, maybe ever. I don't think I've ever listened to it. So yesterday may have been the first time I did. Are you familiar with the fifth to last line of this theme song, Sejohn?
God, no.
Okay.
Why would I? No, that
right.
That is not in my castle of knowledge or whatever. Fucking my mind palace.
I like
sorry.
Castle of Knowledge. I'm writing that. That's the title of the episode now. I'm a big fan. So I'm gonna
Spider-Man's Castle of Knowledge.
No, just Castle of Knowledge. I don't think we need to call it Spider-Man's. But I'm gonna sing it for you right now, if you'll allow me. I don't have a pitch pipe, so if it's a little off, I apologize to our listeners at home. This is this is kind of like, I don't even know what you would call it, because it's not like a verse. I guess this would be the last verse, okay? Spider-Man. That was awful. That was the worst thing I've ever done.
That was fine.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, wealth and fame, he's ignored, action is his reward to him, life is a great big bang up, whenever there's a hang up, you'll find the Spider-Man. Wealth and fame he's ignored is what I would like to talk about today on this episode of the Say Report, because I disagree. Like, at a very fundamental level.
Talk to me. What do you like?
Well, okay, so
I famously, like, look, to set the stage, as it were, famously the idea of Spider-Man and Peter Parker being poor is an important part of his character. It's why he continues to put up with the abuse of
J. Jonah Jameson.
Jonah, right?
Yeah.
Like it's part of the reason that he has such a struggle traditionally with dating Mary Jane. I couldn't for the life of me think of her name. But like part of his whole struggle is that he feels that he doesn't have the money to treat her the way that she deserves to be treated. I mean, like they grow up in a very small house, it's a small neighborhood. Him and Mary Jane both in New York. Like there is. I
mean, that's
idea
just
of Spider-Man
the Sam
being
Raimi
poor
movie.
is pretty quintessential to the Peter Parker version of that character. So talk to me about what you mean by you think that is not
that wealth and fame he's ignored is incorrect. First of all, a lot of what you pulled, like Mary Jane did not grow up next to him in the comics. Yeah,
not next to him, but in the same neighborhood. She lives in the same like borough.
I don't think that's true in the comics. I know it's true in the Sam Raimi movie.
That's why they go to the same school, Dev.
She's okay. Well, now we're going down this thing. Mary Jane Spider-Man. Thank you. That is not a great picture of Kirsten Dunst. So she doesn't appear until issue 25 as a cameo. That's her first appearance. Her first full appearance is in Spider-Man 42. But like when did Gwen Stacy die? 25, right? Like that's the famous thing. No, she doesn't appear until 31. Oh my goodness. I guess like I have weird thoughts about like the whole thing. But Mary Jane, she don't show up until much later into the whole thing. Okay, thank you for that. I hate Wikipedia sometimes. She's the niece. So like her aunt lives next door, but like she doesn't necessarily live there. I don't know. I'm sorry.
They do grow up in the same
like area,
class, area, whatever, because there's a reason that they go to the same school together.
I guess that's true. I didn't know that was the case in the comics. I thought that she was introduced much later.
I don't know what to tell you, man. She did like her and
she
Flash
was in
and the gang all hanging out and like.
That's in the comics? I don't know. I didn't think that was. But that nice Watson girl next door. I guess you're right. So my apologies for this whole thing. You've derailed me a little bit, and that's good because my wealth and fame he ignores thing is going to be pretty crazy. So it's good that I was already taken off of my feet a little bit. But okay, Sejohn, Peter Parker historically sells pictures he takes of himself as Spider-Man to the Daily Bugle for money. Now, I'm sorry, I know that's not a lot of wealth, right? Now I'm going to look up the definition of wealth on the internet. This is where you've gotten me to. Wealth, an abundance of valuable possessions or money. The state of okay, so he's not rich. I guess then he has ignored wealth. He wants to be wealthy though, right? Like you said, he wants to have enough money, so he isn't ignoring it. If anything, he's hyper fixated on becoming wealthy, Sejohn.
Yes, I think that therein lies the whitewashing, is that he has somehow chosen this life. That's not the case. Peter has never chosen to be the way that he is. It's just, unfortunately, is the case. And yeah, he has tried to get famous as Spider-Man. Yeah. But the problem is that because he's not willing to show who he is, and this becomes a huge thing when it comes to the identity wars later on, but like, the reason that it is... The reason he can't really become famous as Spider-Man is because he's not willing to show that he's who he is under the mask, right? Yeah, and there's reasons for him to not do that. So, like, again, fame is something that he would love. He just doesn't know how to achieve it. Just like wealth. Wealth would be something he would love. He just doesn't know how to achieve it. So it's not that he's ignored these things. These things have ignored him. Yeah, exactly. His action is my only reward. No. Spider-Man definitely gets paid for the pictures he sells to the Daily Bugle. Now, does that money mostly go to his aunt so that she can continue living? Yes. And also the fame thing, he's not selling the photos of Spider-Man to, like, the Library of Congress for documentation purposes. Spider-Man is constantly appearing on the front page of a newspaper in New York City. Right? Mm-hmm. And yes, maybe the headlines are often... Spider-Man, menace. Spider-Man, he's stealing your baby's candy, right? Like, it's all sensationalism. It's the media saying, like, Spider-Man's a jackass, but people know who fucking Spider-Man is. But then even outside of the Daily Bugle of it all, right? Which is where, like, this begins for me, this whole argument, because, like, as Spider-Man, he sells pictures of Peter Parker sells pictures of himself as Spider-Man to attain money, and then he's in a newspaper so that people then know who he is. But prior to that, do you know who leaves a calling card after they do something good in the Marvel Universe, Sejohn? Is it Captain Spider-Man? America? Does Captain America leave a little calling card being like, hey, I did this? No, it's Spider-Man. Why are you leaving those cards unless you want people to know who you are? Spider-Man is pretty much the proto-influencer, Sejohn. And, like, I love that song. That Spider-Man theme song, it rocks. But hearing that line, probably for the first time in my life, that wealth and fame he's ignored. No, that is a blatant fucking lie. No. It's not he's ignored as in the action of him ignoring it. It's wealth and fame. He's ignored by them. Action is his reward. I guess that's action does not ignore Spider-Man. But wealth and fame, oh boy. Which I guess, and honestly, possibly that is why the whole thing of what Tom Holland's Spider-Man did at the end of Homecoming, right? In that moment, he is ignoring wealth and fame by saying, I don't want to be an Avenger. Do you think they got it from the theme song? Because that is the only time in the entire pantheon of Spider-Man, which I admittedly made myself look like a fucking jackass on this topic at the beginning of our discussion here. But that I can think of him willfully ignoring wealth and fame. I mean, you know, again, like there's been moments where he's been given the opportunity to reveal himself and become, like, well known, and he has not wanted that, right? But in terms of actually just straight up, like, running away from it all, you're not wrong there. I think I that's the only moment I know of. I mean, let's talk about the fact that
It's either the first or second. I think it might be the very first issue of Spider-Man, like Amazing Spider-Man #1. Isn't that when he goes to the Baxter Building to be like, I will join the Fantastic Four? Because
it's one of the earliest Spider-Man comics is him attempting to join the Fantastic Four's team because he wants to be more popular, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. The Chameleon Strikes, 2 great issues. Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man #1. The cover is him in the Baxter Building being attacked by the Fantastic Four, and then the other feature-length Spider-Man thriller is the Chameleon introduction. Yeah. So, like, somebody who doesn't want wealth or fame is not like, why don't I join the most famous superhero team in the Marvel Universe?
And again, the most famously Unmasked.
Yeah, right? That's the other thing. Is like Reed Richards has said, and again, there's been a million different origins for the Fantastic Four. Not just where their powers came from, but the reasons behind it. Like, one of the most empathetic Reed Richards, which some people don't really like an empathetic Reed Richards, but one of the best is when he's sitting down and he's talking about the fact that my reckless disregard for safety lost the humanity of my 3 closest friends. So I decided that I would make that up to them by making them the most famous, well-known people in the world. Which, like, that is still not the best motivation to become superheroes. But I do like that idea that, like, this is what I can do is make up to Ben, is that rather than have the world think of them as this monster, right? Even though he calls himself the Thing, right? He never gets a rebrand on being the Thing, which is strange.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that I think of that just refer to him as Ben, right? Yeah. That they don't talk to him as the Thing. You know what I mean? Whereas like Batman, a lot of the times I know that I've seen the Flash call him Batman, or even Wonder Woman, who I think has always known who he is. Like even she calls him Batman in like certain conversations. Whereas like there are some people that talk to Ben specifically, like I think about like reading them, but like even outside of the Fantastic Four that refer to the Thing. I don't know anybody that calls him Thing to his face, like without being like either somebody that doesn't really know him or a villain.
Yeah, that's true. It's just one of those situations, but he does make them beloved, right? And that is the thing. As we are now 2 weeks out from Fantastic Four First Steps, which I have to say, the trailer that I saw before Superman 2025, that did not inspire me with confidence. This final trailer that they're like, I mean, like, I'm excited, but they're doing it the way they should have done it, right? I remember sitting at Shellback Artworks the weekend that Avengers came out. We went up to Shellback. They were doing a signing. We're just hanging out with a bunch of guys who've been working in the comic book industry since the 80s, right? 2012. And we had a big sit-down discussion on how you make a Fantastic Four movie work. So this is 3 years before Fant4stic comes out. It is, 2017, right? 5 years after Rise of Silver Surfer happened. So we're sitting there and we're discussing it, and the only thing that everybody in the room agreed is the only way you're going to have a successful Fantastic Four movie is if you make it a period piece. So the fact that First Steps is a period piece warms my heart. But a lot of the other stuff in that, like, I don't know, like, we all knew that it was going to be about them having Franklin Richards, spoilers, I guess, for something that has been prominently displayed now in the marketing material. And that's weird. I think it's weird that, like, they've shown us baby Franklin.
Why?
I don't know. Don't you want there to be some surprises left? Like, I never saw the final Thunderbolts trailer, which apparently showed spoilers for the Thunderbolts, so I think we've already talked about it at length on this show. But just now that it's available, still not on Disney Plus, but at least available to watch at home. If you still haven't seen it, heads up, here's a spoiler for the Thunderbolts, asterisk. They show the Void. And I'm just like, why would you do that? Like, yes, if you know who the Sentry is, you know that's coming, but for those people who don't know who the Sentry is, like, you've kind of just ruined the third act of this film.
Well, so to to bring it back to Fantastic Four, I don't think Franklin's a third act reveal. I think that this is well past Franklin existing. So you're going to know it within the first 5 minutes of the movie. So I don't think that they feel like they're holding something. I don't think Franklin is a twist of any kind. Because, like, there are shots that they have shown of the baby that baby is clearly 3 to 6 months old, if not older.
Right.
So,
but
like,
then they've also...
So, like, that baby is not new.
I guess I'm building it in my head because there's that whole moment, which will probably be the opening, though I did think it was a Sejohn's Gambit because of, just how things work, right? And how I watch things, where it's like, oh, I'm late. Oh, you mean for dinner? Oh, you're pregnant. Like, that was the first trailer. And honestly, I'm like, well, that, like, okay, I'm fine with that. And then the first steps of it all, like, that's a clever way to end the movie. Is with the fact that she's pregnant, but they're gonna be established. I don't know. Like I'm still gonna see it, but I just the final trailer was like, oh, I kind of wish I hadn't seen this. But I'll forget about it by the time I'm in the theater.
Problem,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know, man. I think this movie's doing a lot of really fun stuff. I mean, you talk about Ben specifically, and I'm really digging that they're going with that old look for him. And there's even the shot in the trailer of him with a beard, which is really fucking cool. Like, I never thought about the idea of, like, that he grows a beard. But have you caught that when him and Johnny are flying?
Oh yeah, I caught it. I definitely saw it. Yeah.
He's got that awesome fucking rock beard of some kind, and I was just like, what the hell is that? So like, I'm curious if that's gonna be like an early shot of the two of them, and like Ben is like kind of just doing his hermit thing for a bit. And like, also one of my favorite lines in the trailer is like, I hope it's in the actual movie. If it ends up being trailer trash, I'll be devastated, because as far as I'm concerned, it sounds like one of the greatest lines in MCU history. And that's when Sue says Ben has always been a rock. And like, it's just like, that is such a perfect Fantastic Four line. It is everything about the love and care of all of them in one line. And it warms my heart.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, and that's why I was saying with the whole thing of, like, they have so many different origins as to why they are. Like, one of the earliest origins is that each of their powers represents the 4 core elements. Like, it's Dungeons and Dragons. So we got earth, air, water, and fire. Like
earth, air, water, and rubber?
Well, rubber is actually the water. The fluidity of his motion. The fact that he can do that. Yeah, so Thing would then be earth, Sue is air, and Johnny is fire. So... But then there's the other thing that their powers represent who they are. Like Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, he's trying to stretch himself in a million different directions. He's always trying to multitask, so that Sue was relatively invisible, because she was just the girl, and which is gross. I'm sorry, but like that is what they.
I think it's more about this idea that she was a powerhouse in the family, but because of society, she was unseen.
Yes.
So the idea of her being the invisible woman is like this woman that was always there, and had some of the most badass defensive powers and offensive powers, and then like was just ignored by society. Yeah. To give credit where credit's due, because it is very easy to read that in a shitty way, but I think
those are the exact words the Watcher uses in What If the Fantastic Four had gotten other powers. It's either what if they had gotten powers, or what if they had all gotten the same power. The what ifs for the Fantastic Four are some of my favorites, because they were the most popular. Like, it's weird that we haven't gotten a MCU Fantastic Four until 2025. I'm going to just admit that. But yeah, that's the whole thing. So I've read so many what if issues about that. And then, Johnny is a hothead, so that's why he's fire. And Dependable Ben, he's a rock, so he becomes a rock. Like, so I do hope that does happen, because that is going back to, like, God, when was the first what if issue? 1977.
Yeah.
God, I love it. What if, the first one is, what if Spider-Man had joined the Fantastic Four? Oh,
there it is.
Yeah, like, he wouldn't be ignoring wealth and fame then, would he? But they do make him, like, you need to reveal your identity. And that's always, like, And you touched on a really important thing about that. That like one of the main reasons why Spider-Man is not wealthy and famous is because he protects his identity as much as he does. And everybody likes to joke and laugh and be assholes about the fact that like, oh, everybody in the MCU, it's a race to remove their masks. But like the Fantastic Four, they were front and center with who they were. Iron Man's identity as Tony Stark, like, when they finally got rid of that whole, like, nobody knows who Iron Man is thing, that's when Iron Man actually started to be good, right? Iron Man is a security official that I have hired to follow me around and defend the world.
Well, it's hard to... The thing is that superheroes have always been political stories. Yeah. And nowadays, it's hard to tell a political story when somebody's hiding behind a mask, unless it is specifically about that mask, right? Like, you know, like Batman, for instance, is very often, just to keep going back to the well, but like famously, like that is one of the big things is like who is behind the cowl, right? And then like, so it is just such a I get really kind of caught up when people are like, oh yeah, the first thing they want to do is show off everybody's face. And it's just like, well, yeah, because like there's this idea nowadays that like having somebody staying behind the mask is a political point unto itself. It is an active choice in the plot that you have a character that would not reveal themselves, which we saw in Superman, right?
Yeah. Oh, goodness. It's okay. So, we're going to pause for a quick second and we'll be right back. And we're back. All right. Sorry, we had to have a little off-mic conversation, and we're going to start with, just to confirm before we say what we're about to say, Sejohn, you don't have any tattoos of Superman, right?
No, I do not. I do not have any Superman tattoos. However...
You have tattoos, right?
Yes, I do have tattoos. Yes, you do remember that. That's good.
I have no tattoos. I'd like to keep the option available to get buried in a Jewish cemetery. That's an old joke, goes back to my friend Joe K. And I just keep it going. But yeah, so we do have a friend. He's sort of our third man here at the Say Report. If Sejohn is our Lois Lane, Will is our Jimmy Olsen. I know that makes me I don't want to be Superman. Do you want to be Superman, Sejohn? I'll be Lois Lane.
It's too late, man. You already made yourself Superman in the stereo. The Freudian slip has already occurred.
Great. I'm so happy. I can't wait to see the fan art of you as Lois, me as Superman, and Will as Lois Lane. Somebody's got to make it now, even if it's just Sejohn. Anywho, we had tried to get Will on the episode to talk about it, but Will's got big stuff going on in his life, and if he wants to talk about it, he can. I think we mentioned it in the Adam Sandler podcast, which we have a new episode of that. It's on Punch Drunk Love, which may or may not be a secret Superman story. But he's going to be able to see the movie, hopefully, until this coming Friday. And Sejohn, based upon all of the texts and discords, and I think I got 2 homing pigeons, saw the Superman movie at least 2 times, right? You've seen James Gunn's Superman 2 times, Sejohn?
Oh, Dev. Oh, I wish I could tell you a good story right now. I wish I could tell you a happy ending, but no, I in fact did not see Superman 2 times.
Oh, okay.
I saw Superman once, and I also saw the first 20 minutes of Superman and then had to walk out of the theater.
Okay. All right, so before we go any further with Superman, we're doing a Superman discussion right now, 2025. Will, if you're listening, you got 38 minutes of us talking about non-Superman related things, but we are going to talk about it. Especially, I couldn't left Sejohn hanging with that. He only saw 20 minutes of it the second time stuff. That really blows my mind. I need to know what's happening. Mm-hmm. So you have until the 40-minute mark of this episode. At that time, we're going to go spoilers on the James Gunn Superman. And we are still going to try to get Will on with us to hear about what he has to say about Superman. Because the whole tattoo dumb show that we did, that's because Will has at least one very prominent Superman tattoo. Right? Like,
that wasn't clear.
What?
If that wasn't made clear by our conversation.
Yeah, right. So, like, he's the one here who loves Superman. Not that Sejohn and I don't love Superman, but love, capital L, capital U, capital V. That's Will. I mean, 10 years ago, I crucified a Man of Steel plushie to use as a name tag for an episode of Doug Loves Movies. There are photos of that still floating around on the internet because everybody wanted to get a picture of my crucified Superman. Because let's be honest, Man of Steel, no spoiler warning, that movie is now 10 years old. It's kind of low. Is it 12 years old? Did that come out in 2013? God, when did Man of Steel was 2013. Real big Jesus allegory in the Zack Snyder Superman movies. He dies, he comes back to life. He's at one time where Lois is really hungry, so he's like, just eat my skin, it will become bread. That was a weird scene. And of all the things they cut out of Zack Snyder Superman films, I'm not sure why that wasn't one of them. Anywho, it's spoiler time for Superman. Sejohn, before we talk about the movie, what the fuck happened? Why are you leaving 20 minutes later? Is everything all right in your life?
So it was actually the first time. So what happens? What happens is that I decide that I am super excited for a Superman movie, which is not something that I have felt in a very long time. Even back to the Man of Steel stuff, and this is not me trying to play some like hipster, like I hated Snyder before it was cool shit. I just was not very into, like, Superman as a character was not my favorite, and on top of that, seeing the writing on the wall, like, Zack Snyder was not one of my favorite directors, so I just was like, well, I'll see it because it's going to be something we all talk about, but it was not a movie that I was like going to a midnight showing of or anything like that. Anyway, excited about this Superman, decided, well, I'm going to treat myself right. I'm going to go to a little theater that I like, that I don't go to all the time. It's a place where I can get a beer and some dinner and then bring it into the theater with me and watch it and stuff. It's going to be a good time. Fine. And the truth is that everything had been going fan-fucking-tastic that whole night. I got off work right on time, which is a rarity. Usually I got stuck there for extra time and all that shit. I was able to get myself, like, cleaned up and then, like, go to a little early. I was able to sit down at the bar for a little bit beforehand. Real Genius was on BBC America, so I sat there and watched a fuck ton of Val Kilmer, like, in his prime, and, like, talking to the bartender about, like, other Val Kilmer movies around that time and then other movies in general and shit like that. Everything was going great. Go in, start to watch the movie. The first 20 minutes of this movie start, and I'm smiling, I'm happy, I'm having a good time. The movie is not my problem. All of a sudden, a group of like 6 people come in, and like, this is, again, a place where you can get, like, food and drink and bring it in with you, and all of them have trays full of shit that they've ordered for themselves. And they take it upon themselves to come halfway down the theater to the row that I'm now sitting in all by myself, come by me, push past me so that they could sit on the other side of me. Don't know why they didn't go to the other side of the fucking theater from the top. And then on top of that, one of them has the nerve to bend over to me. All of this while the movie is going on, and there are other people in the audience, bend over to me and start giving me hell about what seat I'm in because somehow they think it's their seat. But the thing is about this theater is they don't do assigned seating. And I know that. I've been there a bunch. I know they don't do assigned seating. The tickets they give you barely tell you what movie you're about to see. Like, they don't say anything on them. So, like, I'm like, it's not, like, I tried to whisper back, it's not assigned. And then, like, even his group was like, dude, just come fucking sit in one of the billion other open seats. I don't know why they were under the impression they were assigned seats. But then, when they all finally sat down, he sits just right fucking next to me. I don't want to sit next to this guy for the rest of this fucking movie, especially in a little theater like this. I was like, I made the decision that before anything got any crazier, or before anybody else said anything or whatever, and before this movie was completely ruined for me, I made a split-second decision to just stand up and walk out. And like, part of it was because I also wanted to go to the staff and just be like, just so that I make sure I didn't fuck up. This is not assigned seats, right? And they looked at me like I had 2 heads. They were like, no.
I need to ask you a question. Before this continues, I'm very much into this. What is the name of the theater?
So it's Broovies. It's famously, it's the theater in Utah that had gotten that was getting threatened to be closed down because they showed Deadpool, and Utah has laws about nudity in film and beer. The fact that they serve alcohol and that they were showing films that had nudity in them, they were gonna try and shut them down. Usually, it was a law used in the 70s and 80s to shut down a lot of porn houses. But like, they were pulling out some old laws for it, and fucking Ryan Reynolds like went to bat for this theater theater to be like, this is ridiculous. Like, just because there's like one scene in the first Deadpool movie where he's like naked and like fighting, and he's like, this is fucking stupid. And of course, the whole thing got thrown out, and Broovies is now fine. Clearly, they're still there, and now there's like paintings of like Deadpool everywhere. When Deadpool Wolverine came out, they sent bar specific Broovies t-shirts that say Deadpool, Wolverine, and beer, and then have the Broovie symbol and the Marvel font on the back. It was really good. It's like like they have a really interesting history because of that sort of stuff, right? And like they were completely on point with me. They were like, no, it's not assigned seating. I don't know what they're talking about. They apologized, and I was like, it's fine. And like there was definitely the implication of like, do you want us to do something about it? But like at that point, the movie is already ruined for me, right? I am not going to have a good time tonight, no matter fucking what. What is the point in ruining it for anybody else's night? Especially if they go in and do something, this is going to ruin everybody in the movie's night. So it's just like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna bounce. Like the vibe is kind of dead, but like I had a good night otherwise, and I head out, right? So that is what led to me 2 days later deciding to go in the complete other fucking direction. I was like, forget this. I am gonna find the nicest fucking seats in the biggest theater in the area. That I ended up in these little. So I ended up going to see it in IMAX. I ended up going to see it in these Lux seatings, which is not just like the lay back seats, but they also have heating. And on top of that, they also have little booths that you sit in. That the intention is that there's 2 seats, so it's very good, very datey. Like you can cuddle up together on like basically a really nice couch and watch a movie type atmosphere. And I buy one of those seats, so there is potential that the seat next to me could weirdly get picked up by somebody. But anybody that knows what those seats are isn't going to do that, right? That would be way too awkward. So like I'm pretty confident I'm going to be fine in that regard. So I pay 2 times as much to go and see it in this other theater. But like I enjoyed the first 20 minutes of Superman so much that I was like, I need to see this movie, and I need to see it quick, because it, like after the incident that happened on Thursday, I was like, I need to go and get to this movie, and I need to see it before that sullies my whole feelings about this movie entirely. Like I was in like danger mode, like I like red alert. I was like, I need to get this movie seen stat. So I went to like a 9:30 a.m. IMAX showing at one of the biggest theaters in the area in one of the nicest seats, and I got myself some fucking popcorn, and I got myself some gummy bears, and I got myself the biggest soda I could, and I just had a good old fucking fashioned movie experience. And boy, am I glad I did that, because it has now it is now just a bad story for me to tell, and not my feelings about Superman entirely.
Well, that's good. I didn't even realize the time. Yeah, you saw a 9:30 a.m. showing of the movie.
Yes, like they had an 8:30, but it wasn't the nicest one. So I was like, well, fuck that. I'll just wait. I'll wait until it's in the IMAX. That's fine. I just like in those boxes.
You said the 11. You said like this is time zone issues, right? Just living, because like he said that 11, and I'm like, yeah, 11 o'clock. That's the earliest we can see movies. If we're lucky, there'll be like a 10:30 showing. But like that,
only Superman though. That's the other thing. They had 8:30 a.m. showings of movies, but they had three screens or 4 screens going that were showing just Superman. By about noon, other movies were starting. But if you wanted to go and see Superman on Saturday, you could go as early as 8 a.m.
Jeez, that's kind of cool. Yeah, they had a 10 a.m. Superman today. That is the earliest that it is. And then there was a 10:45 F1. Right? So that's something before 11. But yeah, no. And I miss that. I honestly, we're going to take this moment to lament. I used to love the 8 a.m. on a Saturday movie. I'd get up. I'd probably get breakfast somewhere, go see an 8 o'clock movie, maybe grab some lunch, and then I'm home by like 1, and I felt like I did something with my day. And then I don't feel bad if I'm at home and I got to like clean up or just hang out, right? I had a full day before noon. And I miss it. I do miss that. I'm going to admit it. Here's the first thing I'm going to say. First of all, yes, please know your limits and do not try to push past them with a movie. If you don't think it's going to be a good experience, do not feel bad going and like, were you able to get your money back from Broovies? I imagine that like 20 minutes is past it. So
it's so like this was a premiere night movie Thursday night at like I went to a 7 o'clock showing, so like prime dinner time, and like the movie ticket was like $8. Yeah. So like I didn't push for the money back because like by that point I had, like I said, I'd already been there for an hour and a half just chilling out with everybody at the bar. So like it was just a loss on the night. And like I know not everybody has the privilege to do that. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for your money back if you want to in that moment. But again, I just hit that moment of like I don't know what kind of like patience nirvana I found myself in, because this is not normally me, but I immediately had this thought of my night is just screwed. I'm not going to screw somebody else's night. I'm not going to let that happen. And so when I didn't even ask for the money back, I didn't ask them to go in and disrupt anything. I didn't ask for anything. Yeah. The only thing I asked was just to make sure that I didn't screw up. Right, there was not assigned seating that I missed somewhere, right? And they were like, no, so, and I just, as soon as I had that confirmation, I felt a little bit better, and then just went on with my night.
So and that's good. But a lot of times, even if you just get a readmit pass, which will allow you to get another ticket, as long as it's not like past the halfway point of the movie, most theaters will at least issue you one of those. So if something happens, you're not feeling it because of the audience, do not feel bad to go and be like, I will try to come back when it's a better audience. Because that has happened plenty of times to me, where like the audience is being loud or rowdy, and I'm like, this is taking me out of the film. I don't want to pay for this experience, and I don't want it to ruin the movie for me. The other thing that I have to mention is, because I am now on Broovy's website, on the website, it does say reserved seating, and you choose the seats that you want.
Oh, no. Fucking idiots.
So that's why I wanted to,
will call him, and maybe I will talk to him about it then.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask, but I'm sure if you still have your ticket, buying it there, it's not there. This is powered by Cinema Plus. I don't know that company.
I wonder almost if like it's like that
it's a
website
secondary
just
thing
requires,
that does it. Yeah. Because I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, do you remember what row you were sitting in when you saw this film?
No, man. I just sat in a seat. That's what I'm saying. Is like I went towards like the middle of the theater. Like that's the most I could tell you.
So what I
wasn't looking at rows. I wasn't looking at numbers because like I didn't realize that I guess that they've got this secondary system. But who the fuck? Okay, this is wild. I would never think to buy tickets for this place online because it is like a bar and cinema thing. Like it isn't like a, I don't know. It's not a big megaplex or anything like that. They've got 2 screens. They only do like 4 or 5 showings of whatever 2 movies they're showing every day. They don't do much. So like you walk in, there's a guy standing there like willing to take your money for a ticket there, or he says you could buy him at the bar. Like that's his only job, is he's like, either you buy a ticket for me or you buy it at the bar. And then and so like there's no pomp and circumstance. There's nothing big about it. Like I don't want to call it a dive because it is definitely well cared for because it's got this history of being this little like art housey theater. But in general, I don't know. It's just not the kind of place that I would even think to look online. But what this tells me is that there was something about this experience that they planned in advance to buy tickets online and then still showed up 20 minutes late for the movie.
Yeah, and that pisses me off as like this thing where like, the first 20 minutes, that doesn't matter. We'll show up. Because what you're talking about, the type of place you're talking, I wish we had a place like that around here where like I could be sitting there having a drink, right? I go there after work, right? And then I'm like, oh, I'm having a drink. Oh, there's a Jurassic Park that starts in half an hour. I'll buy a ticket to Jurassic Park and I'll see that. Right? And that seems like how that situation would work. You go first for it to be a pub, and then you decide, I'll see a movie while I'm here. That'd be like buying tickets in advance for the Dirt Theater. And R.I.P. the Dirt Theater, but like that's not what you do at the Dirt Theater. Like they used to think it was weird when I would show up there on a Tuesday and be like, all right, so I'll take one for the 2:00 of this movie, one for the 4:45 of that movie, and one for the 7:15 of this movie. Like the fact that I had put in the time to look at the show times and know what I wanted tickets for, and I'm like, if I could just get all 3 of them right now and then be done. And I think
the fact that you were willing to buy tickets for each of them and not just buy one and then just go to whatever you wanted all day, because that's what everybody else did.
Yes, exactly. Right?
they didn't have anybody checking those tickets once you bought them from the guy at the front desk. So like once you were in the theater area, there wasn't anybody stopping you from just.
So I mean, the whole thing came from that day that I went to a meeting at work, and they basically were like, we have no value for the reception. Like, the people who check people in, we do not give a fuck about those jobs. You are not contributing members to this entire organization. It was the weirdest fucking meeting ever. Like, in a room full of people, you have no value. Everyone else in this organization has value. And my manager found me after the meeting. I was ready to quit, like, right then on the spot. And she's like, yeah, they should not have done that. That was rude. You can take the rest of the day off and then come back to work tomorrow and then decide whether or not you want to stay here or not. But please do not quit because that woman was a fucking idiot. And what I did after this meeting, it was 11 in the morning, I drove to the Dirt Theater, the East Providence 10, and I saw 4 movies. It was a Tuesday, so the whole thing cost me $4. And it was movies that, like, I hadn't been to the movies in a while, right? Like, it was this big time. I saw Noah, Nonstop, like Peabody and Sherman. I don't remember what the 4th one was. But then I'm like, oh, I've missed out on a lot of movies because I just haven't been going to the theater. So then every Tuesday after work, I would go. I mean, it saved my job. Like, I wouldn't still be doing what I'm doing, working where I am. We're probably even doing the show with you, let's be completely honest, if I had not gone to the movies that day. And then, like, I'm like, this place saved myself, so I wanted to pay every time. And I was going as a way to make sure all the movies that I had missed in, like, the year I took off from going to the cinema were something that I caught up on. So, like, that's the reason why. Because if it was just, like, when you're a kid in high school and you go there and you're like, yeah, we're just hanging out at the movie theater today. We paid our $2 and fuck them.
Oh shit, man! Yeah, I miss that place.
But yeah, so it does.
So I did end up getting to see Superman. I am happy about that. See, I saw it in IMAX. I saw it was a great experience, and yeah, man. I don't like. I'm ready to talk all about this movie, but like from the top, I'm just going to admit it. Like, I had a good time. I had a good time at this movie.
Okay, so and that's good. I'm happy that you did. It was a movie, like, I can say that, and it happened, and I don't know, I've been listening to people talk about it online. I am undecided on Superman. Official spoilers starting now, if you happen to have missed, like, if you stayed for that 17 minutes of story. We didn't really spoil anything in the movie. Here come the big spoilers. And I'll agree with Sejohn. For the first time in a long time, I did not think I was going to see Superman in theaters. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm like kind of into this. Like, I saw a trailer before Thunderbolts, and I'm like, yeah, like, it looks pretty interesting, right? So I went and I bought tickets, and I was, like, alone in my thing. It was a very packed theater. I bought the popcorn bucket, and I bought the popcorn bucket because it was $5 more than the biggest popcorn that they already had, and I had a $5 coupon that was expiring. So basically it's a trash can too. Like, I don't know if the picture I sent to you demonstrated the size of this popcorn bucket that I got. You know, like a trash can that you put in your bathroom? That's the size of the popcorn bucket.
Oh, good. Now you got something to keep by your desk.
Yeah, but, like, that's the thing, is that, like, I think trash can is what I'd want to use it as, and I feel weird saying that, but, like, I was kind of bored by this movie. And all these people are like, I really liked it. I wanted to enjoy it. And then they're like, but what would you give it out of 10? Oh, I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Oh, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Like, that's usually with movies, anything less than 70% is considered a failure. So 4s and 5s, like, you being like, I really liked it. I wanted to enjoy it, but I'm giving it a failing grade, doesn't really make sense to me.
Wait, is that what I said?
No, that's not what you said. That's what other people are saying. I'm not talking about you.
I mean, the thing is doesn't it have a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes right now for an audience score? I don't know where you're hearing that people aren't liking it.
I mean, I'm listening to people review it. I'm listening to these reviews, and it's these people who are talking about the movie and then saying, yeah, like, I really wanted to enjoy it, but I'd give it a 4 out of 10. And I'm like, so other movies that you would give a 4 out of 10 to, you would just be blasting. And they're like YouTube movie critics, right? Like, so it's one of those things. You're probably not wrong with the box office, not box office, Rotten Tomatoes score of Superman.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes has an 82 fresh on the critics and 93% on the audience score.
Wow. And those people had to have bought their tickets from Fandango. It dropped 8 points after they debut, though, Sejohn. Thanks, Men's Journal. That's a hell of a headline there for some reason. Sorry, I'm just being an asshole.
Scores adjusted appropriately once an audience actually saw this movie. News at 5.
News at 5, right? At least it's better than this brownie might kill you. More at 11. But I have that brownie in my house right now. Is it if I eat it? Could the brownie come to life and stab me to death? I'd like news now, please.
Isn't that the old Jerry Seinfeld SNL skit?
Yeah.
It's like one of the only good skits of that whole night, but is him doing the newscaster like, this thing is in your house, you're looking at it right now, and it could kill you. More news at 11. What?
No, I want more news now. Yeah, no, so like people are enjoying it. I guess what I'm talking about is these people, like these critics. People have been very, very judgmental about movies online lately. And I feel like that's just because anger gets you views and clicks. It's just clickbait coming to YouTube, basically. Again, that's my opinion. If it's not the truth, then it's just how I'm viewing it. But these people who are like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. All right, but what would you give it out of 10? 4 out of 10. So like a 40%? Really? Like where that doesn't make sense. To me. And I know that's not what you're saying, but I don't understand how that's what other people are saying. Me, I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 10, to be completely honest with you. Like, the stuff that worked for me didn't really seem Superman-y, and then some of the other stuff, I'm just like, this bores me. The whole end, I don't even know. I can't even put into words how this movie made me feel. Because it didn't really make me feel anything.
I think we need to come at this from in order to. We don't have to do it this way, but I think we should come at this because of the way we've talked about this in the past. Coming at this as James Gunn showing us what he's now going to do with this franchise, with this IP, now that he's at the helm of everything, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people looking at this movie as like, this is going to be the thing that lets us know whether or not we're moving in the right direction with DC movies again, because a lot of people thought we weren't for a while. And that's here nor there for this conversation. We all know how I feel about things in the past in that regard, but like moving forward, this was going to be kind of the tell, right? There was a lot of stuff that we had talked about with Creature Commandos being really kind of the first thing that Gunn had put out there with his stamp on it that we could really look at, and that was really cool to talk about. But as I said then, like, that's not going to be the big tell. Superman's going to be the big one, because this is television, this is cartoons, this is HBO Max. It's not even like cable TV. This is streaming. So like, he's going to be given a lot more leeway to do whatever the fuck he wants with this, compared to whatever Superman is going to quote unquote need to be. And then there were all those conversations for the last week before the movie came out of him coming out and being like, I don't think that Superman needs to make a certain amount of money in order to be considered a success. And like, good on you, man, but like, that's not the conversation. That's not going to be the conversation around this movie. As much as you want to try and steer the narrative in that direction, like, people are going to be talking about like, okay, is this movie good to watch, and is it good for the box office? Because if it's not those two things combined, then it's going to be a bloodbath. But the good news is that in both regards, I do think it's going the right way. For like, it's been making a ton of money this weekend, and as I've said, I've heard nothing but good things about this movie. Yes, I have seen YouTubers that have tried to go in different directions with it, and I have then seen them fucking lambasted for it. The amount of people that then go after them for being just like way too. I mean, the whole Superman woke like conversation.
I don't understand
that's going on.
that at all. I do not know how this movie is a woke Superman. Because
people that pretend to be fans of Superman are acting like this is the first time they've ever addressed him as an immigrant or things or shit like that. And it's just like, no, this has been something that has been addressed in Superman since the beginning of Superman coming to Earth from another place. It's people that want to act like they have some great knowledge and respect and love for this IP that is now being in their minds tread upon, proving that they do not have that knowledge or love.
Like me with Mary Jane earlier. I was just proving a point. Yeah, that's it. No, yeah, it's, and what's really strange is that a lot of them were people who like Zack Snyder for life, right? Even though they were both in that episode of Rick and Morty 2 weeks ago, talking to each other. I don't think they hold any animosity towards each other.
No,
and the
I don't
fact
think
that like
at all.
they were willing to make fun of themselves and and the fans in a way with like, that's just Rick Sanchez. He's the smartest man in the universe. He doesn't really like anything. You can't let him bother you. He can't do what we do, James Gunn. But
there's like it is really part of the parasocial relationship that people have formed nowadays with online personalities, of celebrities, of politicians, of everything. There's this assumption that because they know one or two thoughts that person had within the last month, they somehow think they know their whole brain. And like there's a lot of stuff that goes into that then feeds the whole like animosity between fan bases and shit like that. You see it a lot in like pop singers, where like there's like somebody that's Selena Gomez's fan, and there's somebody that's like that is like a Sabrina Carpenter fan, and they need to feel like they need to pretend that the two of them are like going at something, and oh, look at the way that she looked at her in this picture, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's not evidence of fuck all, but anyway, but moving on, is like, it's that kind of thing where there are people out there that honestly believe that like Warner Brothers like threw Zack Snyder out on his ass and then like went begging to James Gunn to come save all their shit, and somehow that means that James Gunn like looks down his nose upon Snyder, and it's just like no, like I'm sure that Zack Snyder hit a point where he also was done making these movies. I'm sure that he would have loved to have gotten paid millions to keep going, but at the same time, with the way everything was happening around those films, when Warner Brothers went to him and was like, we're not going this direction anymore, I don't think that he was like crying, kicking and screaming and dragged out of the building.
No, I don't think. I mean, by all accounts, the last thing he worked on was Justice League, right? There was no Zack Snyder film after Justice League and the terrible stuff that he had to deal with in his personal life, right? Like, I know he finished.
I do think that he is on as a producer on Wonder Woman 84, which I think was after that, right?
Yes, I mean Wonder Woman was after that. Justice League was 2017. And no, Wonder Woman came before that. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that. But yeah, like, so I wouldn't believe, I don't know, Wonder Woman 84. You still haven't seen it. We can't talk about that.
Yeah.
I have.
I might see it now with Pedro Pascal and Maxwell Lord and the throwaway reveal of Sean Gunn playing Maxwell Lord in James Gunn's universe was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I mean, so that's the other question that that's the other thing that we got to point at. So we're talking about this movie, coming to this movie from the history of the DC movies. We're also coming at this movie from the history of James Gunn movies. And like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like Gunn is one of your favorite movie makers of all time.
Me? Right? I mean, I enjoyed the Guardians films. I liked those. I hated the Suicide Squad. I think that the Suicide Squad, there was some really good stuff in it, but then on the other side was stuff that felt completely crazy. Really, basically all the Harley Quinn stuff, I think, kind of detracted from what was a pretty solid movie. Like when they go to the strip club to catch Big Head Peter Capaldi. I can't think of his character's name right now. I think Ratcatcher 2 is really great. I love the Peacemaker show, which was all James Gunn, right? I like Lollipop Chainsaw, which a lot of people have been like bringing up for some reason as like, but he's a sexist. And it's like, okay. That game he made like 15 years ago. We can have a conversation about that. If you want, I guess. What is happening here?
His writing on a game is not the same as him like having his hands in the creative soup.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like he didn't sit there and make them program in an achievement for looking up her skirt. Like that was not James Gunn saying, by the way, if you don't do this, then my vision is not complete.
And if you read the articles, like they share these articles about him, and it's like all he talks about is like, yeah, she's defying expectation because she also kicks ass. It's just like the next logical step of Buffy the Vampire Slayer to do what Juliet means. Like he had some sort of vision there. You're not wrong. Like Suda 51 was also part of that. Grasshopper Manufacturing was also part of that. But in terms of James Gunn, I don't think I have seen a non-superhero movie that he has done. I haven't seen Slither. I never.
Brightburn.
Yeah, Super is Super him as well. Like I've never seen Super.
Maybe?
Well,
Super might be him.
Let's go to the IMDb.
Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I know he wrote Scooby Doo though. So if we're gonna talk about
like as far as like a movie, like writing, directing,
yeah. I mean, I like Scooby-Doo. I think it's fine. Wow, the photo of James Gunn on IMDb being next to, like, modern James Gunn in interviews, that was a juxtaposition. Not that there's anything wrong with it, just, okay, that's like a different guy there. Why did... director's what's chosen, why are you not showing me the stuff that he's directed? Yeah, so, never saw PG porn. He did do Super. Yeah. I liked the Beazle section of movie 43. That's it. Yeah, and he's done like little stuff for Troma, right? Tromaville Cafe, Hamster PSA, short stuff. But yeah, Slither is sort of his first one. I never saw that. And yeah, I haven't really been following him as a director since like Guardians of the Galaxy. That was where I came on board. And since doing Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, all of his output seems superhero coded. There was also that brief time where he got canceled because of his tweets, which some people are pointing to that the Superman movie is an allegory for being canceled by the internet. Which, okay, I mean, that's not what bothered me about it. Like, just, I wasn't engaged by this movie. I was bored. And that bothered me. Like, there's a whole section where they're in the pocket dimension and trying to, like, do a prison break. And I'm like, is this still going on? And Baby Joey was there. I was so excited for Baby Joey. That's the other thing. All these people, like, I'm surprised there's not a toy of Baby Joey already. And I look over and I'm like, I have both Baby Joey toys in my room right now. What do you mean you're surprised there's not a toy of him already? Just because you're not aware of something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. YouTube personalities. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I like the record. Like, I very much like. I very much enjoyed my time with this movie. I definitely had a lot of. I'm trying to think of like if I was going to criticize it for anything, like I think that it really wants the audience to just be on board. Like, I think that it starts in the middle of the story purposefully so.
Right.
And I think that it's an interesting way to tackle kind of the superhero fatigue problem, where we're not doing an origin story. We're not doing like a world-ending story, although it does slowly start to become that. But like this, but this idea being that like it doesn't start with this immediate thing of the entire world's in danger. It starts with a civil war. It starts in this small space, and then it grows into a bigger problem, which I think is something that that Gunn is really interested in, because he does the same thing in the Suicide Squad, where it starts as just a small infiltration mission, and then slowly becomes this thing against Starro.
They're fighting Starro at the end. Yeah.
So, right. Yeah. And so I think that it's a really interesting, again, it's a really interesting way to tackle the superhero fatigue stuff. I think that, I don't know, man. There's not much I can really criticize about it. Like, I wish that certain things went differently, but that's more just like me, like sitting there wanting to see certain things. Like, I wish we had learned a little bit earlier about the reveal of Ultraman and like that whole thing. We're spoiling this, right? And so like,
yeah, well, you already said we're talking spoilers. So
this kind of slant origin story for Bizarro of like the clone of Superman, and then now he's being sent into what I assume is the nth dimension. We'll see where if he comes back or not. But like, there's like some really interesting stuff that is there that I wanted more of. So like, I would have sat through another 30 minutes of this movie, because like I just wanted more of it. And I think that like the establishment of the Justice League is really interesting. Or Justice Society is actually where I think they're probably going to end up going first.
Let's call them the Justice Gang. And let's also talk about the like last second reveal of Maxwell Lord being Sean Gunn. There are also, like, my issue with the Justice Gang, and I dug that, is that they're sponsored by Lord Tech. Like, they are not just benevolent heroes who are working together. They're also like a corpo branded super team. And like, okay, like I'm fine with that. And that really brings up something. And then why Lex would want his own Planet Watch sort of super team. But because he's so ingrained with the government, he'd want Planet Watch to be like the US sanctioned superhero team. Like, I gotta tell you, like we joked about dinosaur accounting and the new Jurassic movie, right? And how I'm like, I could have gone for 7 more hours talking about how expensive it is to make dinosaurs and how they have to justify it to like their accountants and to the grant people. That worked for me. There were a lot of really great ideas in this movie, but like I was bored by it. And that's my problem. The Ultraman stuff, like the idea when the engineer found the Fortress of Solitude, and then the whole, you're not going to be we're going to need more than just you when we go there. And then they show and it reacts. I'm like, oh, okay. So Lex Luthor has Superman DNA. I'm pretty sure I see where the Ultraman of it all is going. Why else would he cover his face? I mean, he covers his face twice when he's the Hammer of Barovia. Right? Like, there's that whole thing of it, which is interesting.
And I mean, part of, so I have to, be clear.
Please do.
I know the stories of Ultraman, so like right. I know that traditionally he's an alternate Earth Superman, but making him a Superman clone works for me as well.
Totally.
It does get a little bit into like The Boys and Black Noir, but what goes around comes around. You steal from us, we steal from you, type shit. Yeah. But like knowing that Ultraman, once they named him that, because they do immediately as soon as he lands and takes off the Bavaria helmet, somebody says, "Yay, Ultraman, you're back!" Like that whole thing happens. It's like, oh, okay. So so there was a little bit of that going on for me. So like I have to kind of, I don't know how I could remove that from myself as I've watched it.
Yeah, like that's, I don't know. It's But then the other thing of it, like, what was awesome was Lex Luthor in that little, like, bridge in the Luthor Corp building that was his command center. And when that flew away, like the fucking airship in Super Mario Brothers 3, when you lose, that was super fucking cool. Like, there were cool visuals. But Lex Luthor admitting, I cannot fight Superman, so I have created a video game avatar of Superman in Ultraman, and I am in his ear telling him the exact moves to use to beat up Superman. That was fucking awesome. Like, that was a really cool thing to add to the character. But, like, I don't know if it went on too long. Like, the fights, I'm just like, okay, when do we get to... Like, I think I liked the story beats of this movie as much as I did. And I'm like, can we get to more story? And then, like, the story stuff, I'm like, that wasn't satisfying. Like, I wanted more of that. When you're saying I could also do more of Superman if it meant more moments with people. Though I will say... the interview scene that everybody's talking about, that was also pretty much the whole marketing of this movie. And I'm not mad at them about marketing this movie with that Lois Lane Superman thing, because I didn't know at the time that Lois Lane knew that Clark Kent was Superman. I thought it was like them sort of role-playing. If she could have her whole, if I could interview Superman, oh, I'll pretend to be Superman. And then Clark Kent gets to do that, like, knowing wink to the camera, like, haha, right? Because I am fucking Superman. Let's role play this. Like, that's what I was hoping that sequence was going to be. But no, they've been dating for 3 months, which that, I guess, was not a 3 that was worth adding to the 3 minutes at the start of this movie, where 3 centuries ago the first metahumans revealed themselves. 30 years ago. Like, I liked that whole thing, but then that's so weird because everybody's like, Superman's new to being Superman, and I'm like, he's been doing it for 3 years. It's not like a year 1 or even a year 2 Batman, right? They never wrote Batman year 3, right? I know I'm not as into DC books, so if there's a Batman year 3, Sejohn, please tell me now.
I do think that they continued the year series along, but I don't know if it was named specifically year 3 or if by that point it started to turn into like Dark Knight and things like that, I don't think that it is outwardly named Batman Year 3. But
Batman
I mean, if you
Year
read like
3.
the Scott Snyder run in the New 52, like there is a very definitive Year 0, Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, but like they're not named that.
Yeah.
I think that there is still something to the idea of him being new Superman. I think that despite the fact that he has been doing it for 3 years, I don't think that means that he is the Superman we all know and love, right? Because if you think about like that's first of all, that's the plot of the story is that new information comes out about him and the world turns on him in an instant. Whereas if he was the established Superman that is the Superman that everybody knows, protector of the universe type shit, like I don't think you'd have as many people turning on him as quick as they did. And I think that's all the more evident in the Justice Gang stuff is the fact that like we know that Superman is going to become the definitive leader of what will eventually be the Justice League out of the Hall of Justice. We know, like, everything that we know about Superman means that he leads that team. He's not even on that team at this point. You know what I mean? Like, they've started creating it, and Guy Gardner is kind of acting like the lead at the moment, although it's not like he has much control over Hawkgirl or Mr. Terrific, but, like, he definitely is the one that always walks in front whenever they walk somewhere, right? Like, so that kind of thing, where, like, they haven't even considered letting him be on the Justice League team, let alone lead it. So that means it's pretty early in Superman's career as a superhero, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I feel like all the stuff that's going on really does lead it to being like he's been only doing this for like a year or even 2 years. But so that they establish in the... And I don't know how I feel about this because like the opening crawl has sort of returned to films. Like I said, Jurassic World Rebirth starts with a whole hell of a lot of text, like making sure that people know what has happened since Dominion occurred. This movie started with a whole hell of a lot of text, letting us know what Earth is like and where Superman like stands in it right now. I'm not mad about it, but then I also wonder if you're going to kind of be starting these stories midstream, where how much trust do you want to put in your audience? Where like if I have to read a little pamphlet before the movie starts so that it can start in midstream, is that good? Is that bad? Is that the studio? Is that the person creating it? Like,
it's a good question, but it's something that audiences have been demanding the opportunity to see for themselves for a long fucking time. You know what I mean? Like there's been this consistent need whenever these franchises restart to start back at the beginning and do origin stories all over again. And all we've ever heard from people is we don't want to see another, Martha Wayne dead in the alley. We don't want to see another Uncle Ben getting shot. We just want to see these movies starting midway through. And we saw a little bit of Marvel dabbling in that with like introducing Tom Holland's Spider-Man in still an early story in his life, but not necessarily an origin story, right? Like that, like we saw them kind of start to dabble in that, but this was pure, like all I've heard audiences for years ask for about seeing a Superman movie is just like, we don't need to see a whole thing about his whole coming to Earth stuff. And I think what's really interesting is that this movie still gives you a little bit of that because he's got that whole question about like why was he sent here, but at the end of the day that's not the focus of like the story. The focus of the story is no, he is here, let's deal with that. Let's not deal with his coming here, let's deal with the fact that he is here. And I think that that's really cool because I think that it ended up, I mean, I think clearly from the numbers that we've seen so far is working for a lot of people. We'll see if it can keep up with this like good vibes that it's doing. But it seems to be working for people that that this movie was willing to trust them.
Yeah.
After decades of superhero movies, this movie was a movie willing to trust its audience.
And I agree. I was not that, but then where I am is that like I want to see the movie that just trusts its audience, that doesn't, even like Sinners kind of had like that whole like section of like, here's the lore behind the movie you're about to watch. And I like that. I'm like, and it doesn't bother me, but also at the same time, I'm like, it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading. And like, I just sat through 25 minutes of trailers and stuff. I want to get to the movie. And I'm not upset about it, but it's one of those things where like, if that's how they're going to, if that's the solution, because it seems like a studio head solution, right? You have these directors who want to trust the audience, And again, you're right. I'm glad that we didn't have to see Krypton and how Jor-El sent Kal-El to Earth, and that we got to just see him as Superman. We didn't have to watch him growing up in Smallville. I didn't need that stuff. I honestly don't need that stuff. But then when it's like all of this talk, and I guess what I'm saying is that like that stuff felt diametrically opposed to the Superman that we were seeing. Like he did feel like a new Superman. Like he just recently got involved. It's also the
first time. It is the first time he loses. It's one of the. It's the end of that entire scroll. This is the first time he loses a fight. So it's still a huge first for him. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like he feels super green in this movie, and they made it pretty clear that he's pretty green. I don't know.
Right, but
the difference between 2 years and 3 years for you is, I think, where I'm really stuck. That doesn't seem like much of a difference.
I guess I wouldn't have said. I wouldn't have put the 3 years that he's been being Superman for 3 years thing. Because everything in the film contradicts that. Like, this is the first time he's been Superman for 3 years. This is the first time he's gotten involved in an international incident. There were just no international incidents he felt he needed to insert himself into in those 3 years that he's been Superman. I find that hard to believe. I'm just being honest about that. That is just me being honest. That like this is or has he been doing it, but this is the first time it caught fire because now Lex Luthor is out there with his fucking, computer monkeys, Twitter monkeys, putting out slop onto the internet. Also, how crazy is it that Lex Luthor created Twitter monkeys to do that when we have seen in real life that AI is more than capable of doing that? Just being honest about the world. I just, like, that's the thing, is, like, because you're right.
The cruelty is the point with Luthor, though. You gotta remember that.
True. It is true. It hurts more if I have mutated monkeys to be able to type on the internet, and then they're
plus
actually
he gets to hurt the monkeys.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. But then, like, it's something that actually took the time to type it. It's not just something that was created from the electronic ether, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, because, I don't know. I loved Jimmy Olsen. I loved his relation with Eva Tessmayer. Like, I thought that was fantastic. That Lex Luthor's girlfriend is still obsessed with Jimmy Olsen. It's fantastic for me. That Jimmy Olsen, Skylar is not singing the blues. Sorry, the Spin Doctors. Find another put upon best buddy of the superhero to sing the blues now. Because it ain't Jimmy Olsen in the James Gunn one. And that worked for me. I like a capable Jimmy Olsen, right? That's the whole thing, is that he is a capable person. I don't know how I mean, like, this is one of the reasons why I talked about wealth and fame he's ignored with Spider-Man. I don't know how I feel about Clark Kent writing articles about himself as Superman. Like, what?
Well, I think that... Right, and I think what we see in this movie is the inevitable turn to what we all know and love of Lois Lane being the one to write those.
Yeah.
Like, this movie questions that as well. Like, the entire reason why the interview scene happens is because Lois calls him on, you can't keep interviewing yourself.
But then what has Lois Lane done to make her Lois Lane in this world, besides be born with that name? Because, like, is she some well-known, like, I don't see anything.
They dropped that she's an award-winning journalist.
Okay, they say that, right? But they say...
Yeah, they call her that. They call her an award-winning journalist in the movie.
Okay, good. I don't know. I don't know. I was very bored by this movie, and that bothered me. It bothered me that it bored me because I was excited. Like, because there's stuff, Metamorpho, and the fact there's no kryptonite left on Earth, that's just an insane thing to say. Like, it's, I love Superman 3.
They didn't say there's no kryptonite left on Earth. They said that they cannot find any trace of it left on Earth. That doesn't mean that there's none there. It means that they're still looking. They do not imply that there is no kryptonite on Earth.
Okay. But it's very difficult to find. So then the idea of Metamorpho, who can create any substance from his body, being the way that Lex Luthor has kryptonite, that was inspired. That was inspired storytelling. I really liked that. Plus it was Dennis from Bill and Ted Face the Music. I really liked that too. But I just, like, there's stuff that I really liked in this movie, but at the end of the day, I was kind of just bored by it, and that made me a little bit sad. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Like,
don't know, man.
because you're not wrong.
I think
It
that
did a lot.
audiences are really liking this movie. I had a great time with it. I think there was some really fun stuff in it. The credit scenes not being instrumental to the
That felt good.
universe at large was cool. Like I liked that they were just like kind of jokey scenes, and there are some credit scenes, but they're not like anything that are going to make you like, oh, if I don't see this, then I don't know why the Avengers are forming. Like no,
Right.
That's
No, and I like the little Easter eggs like Peacemaker showing up. But like my favorite part of this movie was that Michael Ian Black was in it. Like that's legitimately a thing I can say to you. Like I feel like Hawk Girl. Like I love Hawk Girl. I love what they did with Hawkman in Black Adam, so I was happy to see it. But I feel like all she did was yell in this movie. She also killed the Barovian guy, which was also like totally fucking Hawk Girl. I will say that. And she maced the kaiju in the eye, which was hilarious to me because of the dual like meaning of the word mace, the homonym nature of that.
Yeah. Plus the entire scene in when Lois shows up at the Hall of Justice, I think that like she adds a lot in that moment to the dynamic of like where the group is at that moment. Like the idea is that they're kind of leaderless and kind of like yeah, they're being funded by lords, so I guess they're going to get some direction from them, but in general they're putting this team together with no real goal in mind.
Yeah, they're co-workers. Like, they're not
again,
teammates.
Part of what this movie is about them kind of finding that in the end when they do finally step in and show up in Moravia and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do it in Jakarta, or whatever the name of it.
Of the two of them, as it were.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Like this movie has a lot of heart. It has some really fun like bits in it. There's some. I mean, Mr. Terrific was fucking
Mr. Terrific was so terrific. He was really good. It was nice to finally see Edie get to do something rather than die as Darwin, the unkillable X-Man. Like, let's be honest. Like, that's still the dumbest. He adapts to everything. But he couldn't adapt to swallowing fire, even though in the comics he's adapted to it like 8 different times. He was really good as Mr. Terrific. I really liked Mr. Terrific and everything about him. I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm not a dog owner. Everybody seems to like Crypto did a lot of work for people to really get invested in this movie. But then they kind of like spoilers, huge spoilers for the movie here. When
Crypto is so plot significant, though. I
know, like yes, it's basically John Wick in a lot of ways. Like he's really only mad at Luthor because Luthor took his fucking dog. But then that's what I'm about to say is that it's not his dog. He's watching it for freaking Supergirl, Kara El.
Yeah,
like,
but he still cares enough about the dog that and because it's because he doesn't look at Crypto as a piece of property. He looks at Crypto as a living thing. Mm-hmm. Because what he says is, I've been looking for the dog, and I'm going to go out and see if I can find him again. And she's like, what do you, like, the world is falling apart, and you're worried about this dog. And he goes, well, it's out there, and it's alone, and it's scared, Lois. Like, I can't let that be. He can't let an animal feel that way. I mean, we see him save a fucking squirrel in this movie.
Yes, we do.
He is so invested in the idea that a living thing should not be in the danger that Crypto is in. That it is what is driving him through this story. Is that yes, his world is falling down around him. The world is turning on him. The parents that he thought he had turned out to not be, and like he's feeling really disconnected from everything. But the one thing that he can still focus on is saving this dog. And it's like that is the most Superman-ass thing I think I've ever seen. Is that like no matter how much shit he is going through, he knows that there is this animal out there that's in danger and he wants to go save it. And that's such a great like Superman story. Like it's one of those things that when I saw the animated Justice League Apocalypse War, there's a really good Superman plot in that, and I tweeted about it. I was like, they proved that you can write a really good Superman story where he shows weakness, because one of the biggest problems that the Snyder movies had for me is that Spider-Man is a god in those movies, and I think Snyder would admit that. Like he views Superman as a god. It is why he is treated the way that he is, and so it gets kind of to your point, boring, like watching that kind of Superman. Like, that's just not interesting. And that was what a lot of people were feeling. Why those movies were getting the flack that they were, is that Superman isn't interesting. And it became known as the Superman problem. It was even before Snyder's movies, the Superman problem was known for the Superman problem. It's like, how do you make an interesting story about a guy that can do fucking anything, right? And like, and when I tweeted about it with Apocalypse Wars, I was like, see, this proves that you could do this. I trust that somebody out there could do this. And it actually got picked up by DC Animation and shit. Like, they shared it. And I was very, very, it was one of my few proud Twitter moments before I left that horrid wasteland. But for a moment, I was stood on the pile of gas in the Mad Max wasteland. But it was great, right? Yeah. And I meant that. But like, the reason that it got picked up and the reason that it gained traction is because it was an honest statement. Like, there are plenty of Superman stories out there where he can show weakness, where he can show this. You just have to do it right. And this movie did it right. You know, I think that, like, yeah, you want to talk about it getting like draggy in some moments or boring in some moments. I can't tell you that you're wrong, more that I was okay with sitting and stuff. So, like, I would maybe give this movie an 8 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, just to bring it back to that number system.
I mean, that's not a thing that we usually do here. The reason why I did it is because all these people, like, I give it a 4 out of 10. I really liked it, though, and it's like, you know that those two statements don't... And there has been a little bit of a critique because a lot of those critics who are giving these things were invited to an event to see this film early. Like, they had an influencer screening of Superman with the free popcorn and the free soda and to put them in this thing. And so there's that question of, are these people who are giving it praise? And this is, I don't want to live in a world where we have to be this cynical. I am just bringing up a thing that is happening out there right now on the internet. And people are wondering if the praise is coming from the fact that those people who receive that special treatment don't want to lose out on the chance to have that special treatment again going forward. Which is a really interesting thing, because it's like, it's creating an observation, right? As soon as you observe something, it is fundamentally changed in some way, right? So it's just a natural question to ask in terms of, yeah, I mean, that's, you bring up a point. Are these people giving good reviews because they want to be involved? They want to be invited to the parties. And again, that's a whole other thing. Like, because those are not the people who are saying we gave it a 4 out of 10. There are other people, there's reviews that I never watched, but there are people who are reporting on that too. I don't know. The whole thing, like, I'm not sad that I saw it. I wish I were as excited by the film as I was by the trailers. Like, the trailers really got me excited to see this movie. And then the movie itself, like, some good stuff. You know what I really like about this movie, about the new Superman movie, is the fact that he doesn't want to kill the kaiju. I think that is like one of the most beautiful Superman moments that this film actually captures, is the fact
he
of like
legitimately like disappointed in Guy and all of them when he sees when he does the X-ray vision and sees the bombs go off and he realizes it's over. He's just like, so that sad look on his face is perfect.
Yeah, because like, well, it's also the fact of not only did they not like care about this creature, which he's like, should we like, maybe we could catch it, bring it somewhere, try to understand it? This thing just seems like a frightened creature let out into a world it doesn't understand. Like, that's a Superman that I like. And then that happens, but then none of the other Justice Gang, which is what they're referred to in the movie, they like try to do anything about the kaiju falling. Like, are they expecting Superman to catch it? Are they expecting him to make sure that nobody is crushed by this monster? Like, there's such rampant irresponsibility from the other superheroes in this film. And I like that. That's a very interesting thing, because then you do have Superman as like, we need to be better. Right? Like, just because we have these powers doesn't mean that we get to use them in this way.
And we get to see him be better, because he will turn around and if something happens, he will turn and look at the crowd and say, is everyone okay? Or he will go and catch the thing that's falling. Or he'll try and move the squirrel out of the way or the dog out of the way. Like, we see him actively do the things that he thinks they all should be doing. I mean, even in the after credits scene with Mr. Terrific, which is a funny bit between the two of them, but he is caught and really like caught up in this idea that when they did fix things, they didn't fix them exactly right, and he's wondering if there's some way they can. And like that's none of this is said. It is entirely just a quiet moment between the two of them, and it's like this perfect emblematic like look at him like being like, oh man, we didn't do this right, but like it's everything is okay now, but we could do this a little bit better. Is like, okay, calm down, Clark, please, just like take a breath. It's like there's so much about this Superman that was just to lovable. Like he's just charming. It's a goofy movie. Like there's really silly shit that happens in it, which I think can sometimes be a little cringy if it's not done exactly well, right? But I mean, you know, that is maybe one thing that I would say. And I wish there was a little bit more of Lex Luthor's motivations early on, but I do really love the speech that he gets at the end that really digs into why Lex is the way that he is. I kind of thought there was going to be some stuff between like him maybe stealing information from Lois that never really came to fruition. So like that was just, again, that was me putting something on the movie though that wasn't clearly was not intended to be there, right? So like I need to understand that. Like so there is definitely stuff in this movie that like I wouldn't give it like a perfect score, but like it's a fun movie, and like it's the first time in a long time that I've been able to say that about a Superman movie, and I'm very excited. Yeah. You know, and I loved Superman Returns, but at this point that's 15, 16 years ago, right?
God, 2007, I think. So
20 years ago.
Yeah, almost 20 years ago, 18. Like, yeah, what, gosh, I really did like Superman Returns. I mean, I saw it how many times in theaters as like a person who will be like, yeah, I did like that movie because I saw it.
But I've never made my opinions about the Snyder stuff.
No, you've always been very honest about it. Superman Returns is 2006. So yeah, 20 years ago. Jeez, I loved that movie. I didn't think I was going to enjoy that one, and then I think I saw it like at least 3 times in the theater. But there were a lot of cynical people around that one. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's always going to be cynicism around these movies. And there was a lot of fun. You know what I liked? I liked that Superman didn't beat up Lex Luthor. I liked that he understood that Lex Luthor's whole, like, anger with him is the fact that he feels emasculated and is jealous of Superman and who he is and what he represents. So literally he just walks into his office and like, just by existing in front of you, I know that it upsets you. And also being like, and we have all the evidence that like you were behind some crazy geopolitical international incidents. So like, yeah, maybe your buddyship with the US government is not going to go as far as it once did. Like, that worked for me. And you talk about, like, there's nothing lasting for the universe. Like, you don't need to see this movie to understand going forward. I personally feel like that fact that they didn't fix it perfectly is going to matter going forward. I think that, like, so maybe something slipped out. Maybe there are some open wormholes, which is how things from the DCEU are going to be able to bleed into the DCU universe, right? But again, it's not super explicit. It's not, oh, that spaceship comes from another dimension at the end of Thunderbolts. It is just one of those things where
we didn't see like a Joker calling card fall from the sky and didn't guarantee that the next one's going to be a Batman movie, right? Like we didn't get that kind of marketing ploy.
Yeah, and that I like, but like as somebody who has a very active imagination, like it not being perfectly aligned, the rift that opened up in our universe that was threatening to destroy Metropolis, like that leads me to believe there's some, storytelling that they get to do from this, right? The fact that Lex is going to Belle Reve, which is where the Suicide Squad is from, right? Like, he's not going to some other prison. He's going to famous prison in the DC universe. So
this bald bastard to Belle Reve.
like that, like I cheered at that. Like, so there was a lot of good things in it. I just, at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not going to not watch it again. When this is available at home, I'm going to watch it with the family probably. And I'm curious to see what they think. Like
I'd be curious to hear what they think too. My family as well. But I will say this, first movie in a while that I've walked out of, or that I got to the end of and the crowd
clapped and everything, I did make my joke of, oh, they must have fixed the microphones. Because that goes back to like the Two Friends days when we would go see movies and like they would get raucous applause from the audience. And it's like, man, I love that they have microphones in the theater so that the directors get to hear that. And it inspires them to make their movies better. like you guys did a good job. It is nice. I do like when there's a reaction like that from the audience. I'm just a cynical asshole, so I'm going to make a joke about it. Plus, I mean, consider the people I was hanging out at the time of the Two Friends days, Sejohn. I didn't have the warming cuckles of the heart relationship that we've shared over the last 9 years doing this Say Report. You've made me a little bit less cynical, Sejohn, and I appreciate you for that. And I did. I appreciated this movie, and I like a lot of the stuff that was in there. People who say there was too much in this movie, I don't understand that. Like everything that was in there, like kind of had a reason for being there, which was nice. Like nothing felt extraneous. Like even
it's the old team up problem, right? Like starting with a team like always feels like a cop out in a lot of ways because you have to cheap out on everybody's kind of introductions and stuff. And what makes the fact that Avengers worked so cool, but also required movies before it to kind of get the ball rolling, right? Yeah. This was. But then James Gunn famously kind of came in with Guardians of the Galaxy and was able to do a team-up movie right off the bat with a team of people that nobody knew anything about, right? So, like, he kind of broke the mold in that regard. And so I think this is right up his alley when it comes to this stuff, is balancing all of these elements that are from the universe and being really good at making sure the audience focuses on the important bits and that the other stuff is there. It's fun. Like, it's cool that Peacemaker shows up and for like a moment, but he doesn't dwell on the character at all, and he doesn't show up in any like significant way that it requires that you know who Peacemaker is before you see this.
Like, he shows up and it's what an Easter egg is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun if you're familiar with it. And if you're one of these people who like, oh, James Gunn, and he's completely rebuilding, right? It's no longer the DC Extended Universe. It is now the DCU. So, like, we know that Peacemaker is there. And they've gone well out of their way because season 2 of Peacemaker was approved before the whole shift away from the DCEU. And the assurance is that, like, Chris is still going to exist in the universe. Amanda Waller is still going to be played by Viola Davis. Like, you don't need to be freaked out by these things. Like, he's gone there. So seeing him in the movie, that was good. Frank Grillo as Rick Grimes Sr. was fun to see. I don't believe that this Rick Grimes Sr. is the same one who worked with the Creature Commandos.
I don't think he's worked with them yet. I think this is a Frank. This is a. I was going to say Frank Grillo. This is a Rick Flag Sr. that I feel would work with them 10 years from now, maybe, which puts an interesting kind of spin on Creature Commandos. I'd have to go back and like see what it considers its timeline to be, because I agree. I don't think that this is one that has worked with them already or anything like that. Obviously, considering what happens at the end of Creature Commandos, but I would like to believe that this is the kind that could work with them eventually, right? Especially with the way that the story goes and that final moment of his, where it's like, I hope you hope you're okay with the fact that they're the ones running the show now. Is like fucking like, and he just has this look on his face of like, I don't know what Pandora's box we fucking opened at this point is essentially his attitude in that moment. Yeah,
it's great. Like, just James Gunn understands that character. I'd say he understands every character. And I brought it up earlier. I think the problem with the Suicide Squad is the new Suicide Squad in that movie I really care about. Like, I'm invested in what Polka Dot Man is going to. I like Ratcatcher too. Where that film falls apart is that he also has to somehow juggle that James Gunn thing of having this new team of people and making you care about that whole team of people with a hyper-established character like Harleen Quinzel. Like, and that's why that film kind of feels a little disjointed to me. And I'll be honest about that. This film, I feel like Superman was still the focus, even though you had Mr. Terrific and you had Guy Gardner Green Lantern and you had Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, all these other characters, because you just kind of get boilerplate for them, right? And yes, that did mean that I felt like all Hawkgirl did was scream. But she does. She has that weird, we're co-workers, we're not a team moment. Not weird, but like, it's important. It's real world building. The fact that the Justice Gang is not a team yet. They're just co-workers who were brought together. Even the fact that Mr. Terrific's like, yeah, I'll help you. And then because
he just piss off Green Lantern.
Right. Right? Because he thinks he's our leader. Fuck that guy. Look at all of the technology I have.
Yeah.
So after this movie,
I'll tell you this, man. You're making me want to go watch this movie again.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like, that's kind of where I figured this conversation was going to do for me, too. Is, like, I am coming here saying I was a little bit bored in that first viewing. And honestly, I'll admit, the day before, I had stayed up until 3 a.m. playing the Ghostbusters video game. So maybe seeing it at 2 p.m., I wasn't 100% in the best, like, mental place to see this movie. Well rested. Maybe I'll go see Superman again, and I'll get to like see if it actually does work for me now. I mean, because like Superman Returns, I said I saw it 3 times. The second viewing of that movie was the one where I really like, yeah, this works for me, right? Like I'm fine with movies like that like require multiple viewings, where like now I understand the pacing and I understand like what matters. I've broken down the problem. It's something that we've talked about on this show forever. Right? And especially it double goes for like DC films. DC is such an ingrained thing, right? Same with Marvel, but like something like Iron Man, they did a really good job at the beginning to be like, forget your expectations. This is a new fucking Iron Man, right? DC, they kind of stand on ceremony every time they sell these movies. So, like, your expectations, they get, and tempering expectations, or better yet, going into films with absolutely zero expectations, like, that is going to give you a better viewing experience. So, like, the second viewing that I'm going to have of Superman 2025, of James Gunn's Superman, right, as everybody's calling it online, like, the expectations I have are only based on what I already know about the movie. God bless you. Nice job on that cough button, brother.
I was trying. I was going for it, but it just didn't come.
Buddy, that was a sincere like compliment to you. Because all we heard was the first part, not the real loud, I'm going to read my microphone part. I didn't hear spittle hit your element. And I thank you for that.
Well, to be fair, I also don't sneeze into the microphone because I basically, talking into a microphone, I just imagine it's your face there.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
I want to sneeze in your face.
Yeah, thank you, Sejohn. As someone who has accidentally sneezed in somebody's face before, they are very thankful for that.
I just had like a Peter Griffin cutaway in my head of like your head on my microphone, just tiny little Devon.
Gross. Love it. Now, someone could do that fan art too. That's it. This is also the one where we're demanding fan art from the crazy shit that we say on this show. I don't know. Yeah, like overall, I was bored by it. But I think yeah.
No, go ahead, man.
No, that's it. That's the last thing. Is that like there was stuff, there were ideas that were. We haven't talked about the big thing. First of all, I'm a little disappointed that Laura was not Lady Gaga, because that's who I thought it was initially. I thought that Jor-El and Lara were played by Bradley Cooper and Stephanie Germanotta, and I'm like, oh my god, that's hilarious, because then the star that was born was Kal-El. That's funny. But it's Angela Sarafian, and I don't know her. I didn't watch Westworld. I mean, I watched the original Westworld with Yul Brynner, but I never watched the HBO series Westworld. So that woman just kind of, to me, I'm like, oh, it's Lady Gaga. And I feel bad, but like, she's similar facial structure to Lady Gaga. And then I was also like, good for James Gunn casting Lady Gaga as Superman's mom after what happened in Joker Folie à Deux. Like, what a weird way to twist the knife. But that's not what happened. But Bradley Cooper is most definitely Jor-El. And that worked for me too. Like, but
How do you feel about the reveal, the possible reveal? I don't think we're done with that yet, right? Of their mission for Soup.
Like, that's the most incendiary part of this film. Not for me, right? Because I've watched other things that have sort of had that whole, you're going to be better than them, right? We're sending you there because you will be better than them. They just really did the James Gunn thing and turned it up to 11 with like having his parents be like, create a harem of women, Superman, so that you can create like hybrid Kryptonian children and lead an army that will take over the universe. Like,
well, I wonder if it's a warning about something like Darkseid.
Something that's coming, Darkseid. Right? Exactly.
Right. And I don't think so to that point, not saying to their son, go create a harem of women, but maybe describing what someone is known for or something like that. Also, we don't know if it was altered as much as they try and act like it wasn't. I mean, the only person that really says it was unaltered was Lex Luthor. I'm supposed to trust him?
No, Mr. Terrific says it. Mr. Terrific says, I'm a genius.
Mr. Terrific says,
and I can look at
Mr.
it.
Mr. Terrific says that if that the people that have looked at it would be the ones to know whether it was right. And so, just because it's still broken, right? There's all of that. There's elements that they have left that it doesn't have to be what they said. So I'm just saying that from where I stand, I don't feel like we're done with that message yet, because if we see more of Superman, they're going to have to deal with whatever the rest of that message truly was. And I think that he's setting it up for, I think it's smart. I don't think he's setting it up for a specific answer. I think he's setting it up for possible answers depending on where they want to go with what happens with other movies. And with that, my question was, what is next on the docket for DC? Is it Supergirl, or is there something else
I believe it's Supergirl.
I know there's a Clayface movie coming out in 2026, but I don't know if that's meant to be in this universe or not.
That is a really good question. DC universe, not the extended universe specifically. So right now we are in Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. What do you got here? Superman, July 11th, 2025. Supergirl is slated to come out June 26th, 2026. Oh, we're going to remember Clayface's release date because it's September 11th, 2026. And it is also...
Is it considered in the universe?
Based upon this whole thing that I'm looking at on Wikipedia...
Because the Matt Reeves Batman stories are not, right? They've pretty openly said that they're not considering them, and I was kind of wondering if Clayface was actually going to be more in that vein than in the DC one, in the DCU ones. But guess not. That'll be interesting.
So yeah, according to this, and again, this is just Wikipedia, all of that. Supergirl and Clayface are both Supergirl's in post-production, Clayface is in pre-production. They are all, it looks like, underneath this Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters title. Involved in that is also The Authority, The Brave and the Bold, and a Swamp Thing film that's being done by James Mangold. Those are all in development. We don't know where that's coming from. And then other films that have apparently been mentioned is an untitled Teen Titans, an untitled Bane and Deathstroke film. That's to them together. A Sergeant Rock, untitled Wonder Woman, and an untitled Justice League film. So that's crazy, because I don't think we're near enough to a Justice League being formed, even with seeing the Justice Gang in this film. Because they do not feel like eventually they would become the Justice League. Like you said, they do feel more like the Justice Society. All right? And it, like, yeah. Like, there was some really good stuff. Like, this also kind of feel like it cribbed a little bit from, like, Black Adam, which you and I loved. And it's like a little like, oh, but Black Adam was so good and we're never going to see it again. And what I would say about the harem storyline, I think you're right. I think the fact that it is never explicitly proven that it is legitimate, the book is never closed on it. It's because they can decide to do something with it later on. Based upon the reactions that it's having, if this were Marvel, and that is what I'm basing it on. I'm basing it on Marvel. Marvel would completely, like, never touch it again. People hated it. We're not going to touch it again unless it's touched again like 23 years later and the leader finally comes back, you know? Like that style. Like it's one of those situations where like it is another huge dangling thread that I would love for them to pick up, right? Because we don't. Like we never get... Superman doesn't watch it. He only watches the version that is shown on the television program. Also, you know what? R.I.P. Molly. Like, that scene was fucking awesome. Where Lex Luthor played Russian roulette with the falafel guy who was like Superman saved one time. That like that did the most like building of this Superman, and like that proof that like he just cares about everybody. He just doesn't want people to die. He wants to do what he can to prevent unnecessary deaths in this world. And like that, oh God, Luthor, brutal Luthor, loved it. Nicholas Hoult had a good time as that role, but also like petty. In the fact of, like, I have a pocket dimension where I lock up my ex-girlfriends.
Yep. Like, really establishing how insane he really is. Which I like, because I think that, like, Lex Luthor in the past, especially the Gene Hackman one, like, he was just an evil capitalist, right? Like, he and it was silly, right? Like, Luthor's always been kind of silly in the movies. Even Spacey's, sorry, that's not to the character, that's to Spacey. But in Returns, right, is, like,
well, he's supposed to be the Gene Hackman one. Like, that's the other thing, is that Superman Returns is meant to be, let's pretend Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, never happened. Here is the proper third Superman film. So, as much as grown for Spacey, you're not wrong about it. I'd forgotten about it, that I've been heaping praise upon what Superman Return has done as a film for me. He is supposed to be embodying what Hackman's Lex Luthor was.
Right. And like and then there's been versions of him in like the animated series and in the comics and stuff, and in the video games even, where Luthor is even heroic in some places, in some storylines. And there's the President Luthor like story and stuff like that. And like it's just the fact that this movie, that Gunn was willing to establish straight up, like, no, he's a psychopath, he's crazy, he's evil, he's like everything, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about like he is the bad guy in this movie, was kind of refreshing.
Yeah. And he's the worst guy. It's not just that he's the bad guy, he's the worst guy. And here's the other thing that I just love about this movie. Target has a 6-pack of characters, right? And they're not like the McFarlane level characters of this. They are like for kids. I don't know the company that makes these figures. But in that 6-pack, there is a Lex Luthor figure. It's the only Lex Luthor figure that exists for the 4 kids line of collectibles, where he is wearing the power armor. And a lot of people were like, fuck, he's going to get his power armor in this movie. And that kind of defeats a little bit of the fun of Lex Luthor. Once he becomes a superhero himself, not a super-powered individual himself, it's not fun that he's like the brains that is fighting against the brawn of Superman.
I do think that introducing the Bavaria suit, I think the Hammer of Bavaria suit, I think is a good indication. But what? Yeah. But
well, it's not Bavaria. It's not an actual place. It's a made-up name. That's it.
Right, but I think introducing that suit, I think, is a step towards probably eventually seeing Luthor doing something with a power suit. But yeah, I didn't want it to just become fucking the end of Iron Man. To be blunt, just everybody gets a suit.
Right. But yeah, so he's that. Who does this though? Now that I have this up on here, who makes this? This is made by. It doesn't say. Why don't you tell me who makes this? TRGX maybe is, I guess, the company. But it's Metamorpho, it's Mr. Terrific, it's Superman, it's Crypto and Baby Joey, and they're kept in like little containers. Like, we're trapped. And then exclusive Lex Luthor, who is in the power suit. So everybody assumed that was going to be in the movie, and I'm happy that it wasn't. But you're not wrong. We have seen that he is capable of creating power suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, overall, I'm not upset that I saw it. The discussion about it is really strange. Because so many things, people like, I ultimately hate it. Like, I don't know why these people who are like, giving it 4 out of 10s are then like, but I liked it. Like, I don't understand why the discourse is so different around this movie. And I don't think that we have enough time in the show, even if we continued, say, reporting for 100 years to get to the like root cause of why some things are just derided and treated like garbage, but other things have some weird reverence for them. Is it because, like, ultimately we all want a good Superman franchise again? You know what?
Yeah, I think Superman is definitely one that brings people to the theaters. I think it's the kind of movie that when you say Superman, people get their hopes up, you know, and it's you know, it makes sense for the character. It makes sense for the lineage of it in film and comics. I think you say you're making a Superman movie and people get excited and they want it to succeed, which is a rarity nowadays because it really seems like there's a lot of people out there that just want these movies to fail.
Yes. Well, I guess we'll see how it legs up. I mean, all that's reporting on Box Office Mojo right now, just to wrap it up, is the Fridays, and I saw it on Thursday. So, and it's at $96.5 million worldwide. So, like, that's not bad. 56.5 domestically. Let's see if that updated since I first looked it up at the beginning of the show. No. I don't know what they're projecting for the full weekend, but I mean, people are seeing it. I mean, everybody's talking good about it. Even us, even me, like, I'm bored, but I liked this. All right. So, yeah.
See what happens next.
Yes, sir. Anything else you want to make sure we touch on? This was fun. I had fun this episode. I'm not going to lie to you. Thank you, Steve.
Nothing huge. Been doing some video game and stuff, but nothing that we need to talk about this week. I'm kind of just holding my breath. I'm waiting for Donkey Kong to come out to hear what everybody thinks about it.
Me too. I cannot believe that as of the release of this episode, we are 3 days away from Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to play it.
We might be 3 days away from Sejohn having to buy a Switch too. Like, currently not feeling that, but depending on what happens with this game, maybe this will be the thing that tips my family towards
let's end this here. This is a good place to end it. Are they readily available near where you are? Like, could you go buy a Switch 2 today?
I did see a couple on the shelf at the Target near me, but to be honest, I don't do a lot of brick and mortar buying of this stuff nowadays. We talked about this with the PS5. It seems impossible for me to get anything on the shelf nowadays. So, but I did see at least one on the shelf when I was at Target yesterday. So, yes.
Oh, that's all. No, that's great. No, because I
just haven't got anything else.
I was watching.
Plus, I don't know with Donkey Kong coming out what that's going to be. You know, that's going to be a big push for a bunch of people to go out and grab one, right?
Right. But I mean, it's one of those situations where I was watching a stream. The streamer was playing Mario Kart World, was like, you know, come join my room and all of this. And it just kind of had background noise. And then ultimately, like, they couldn't get a full lobby of people to play Mario Kart World. And apparently this is the first time that I had watched a streamer. What they were able to do was, like, get full lobbies on Mario Kart 8. And even then, where they're like, well, let's go to Mario Kart 8, maybe we can get a full lobby then. They got a full lobby of people. So then the obvious way that feels is like, well, one of the reasons that you're not getting that same full lobby is the Switch 2. But then that streamer talked about, like, I was in Target earlier today and they just had them. So I can't imagine it's that they're not available. It seems more like people are not interested in purchasing it. And I mean, that has been my argument, right? I have one and I didn't use it at all this week. No, that's not true. I've beat Ninja Gaiden's, like, special mode that starts right at the final boss, as I tend to do, like, just to make sure my system's still working. But I feel like it is, like, I don't know, but I've not seen one. Ever since the first day, I've looked at stores and they have not had Switch 2s. So it was curious to hear someone say, yeah, I went to a store and saw it. And you even saying that you went to a store and were able to see them on the shelves. So
they weren't like, there weren't like tons of them. Like, right. Like I said, the brick and mortars around here just are not stocking shit nowadays.
No,
and like game wise, fucking nothing like on the shelf. There was like, everything is cards and all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to check the Best Buy near me, but their webpage is not there.
No, okay.
Switch 2.
This is live. Sejohn checking online for Nintendo Switch 2 near.
According to this, I could buy to pick up in store today.
From Best Buy?
I don't know if that means from Best Buy. I don't know if that means that they actually have it. It could be one of those things where I do that and then I get an email saying they don't have one and they'll see me in a week. But But yeah, this is letting me select to put it on
check right here.
pick up in store.
Sold out. This system is currently sold out. We are working to get more inventory, is what it says on mine. Yeah. And this is, you're looking at just the Switch 2 system or the bundle?
Oh, you know what? I was probably looking at the bundle. I just switched off.
That's completely understandable. I'm just... And what is the price that you're seeing? Because I see the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World bundle is $949 where I'm seeing it on.
Whoa, no, $500, just $500.
Yeah, but we've also covered the fact that, like, because you are connecting to West Coast servers and I'm connecting to East Coast servers, we are seeing different internets.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, let me see if I can
pick up ready in 1 hour, South Salt Lake. I could go down to South Salt Lake and pick it up in store.
Wow, I mean that is
Farmington. No, but there's one in the other direction from me that doesn't have it. So the one in the other direction from me is sold out. So so if I go to Best Buy right now down in South Salt Lake, I could get one that they've got there. I don't know if that means they've got more than one, but they've at least got one.
Yeah, and that's the bundle, or is that the thing? Because there's no reason to get it without Mario Kart World. Even as somebody who's
it does look like it is just the system.
The bloom has gone off the rose. Would you mind searching for the bundle just while we're here doing this?
The bundle is sold out in all locations.
All right, so there you go. So that's interesting. Like, I was wondering if with the release of Bonanza, there'd be another big bundle restock. With Bonanza? What? They're not doing a bundle.
Are they going to bundle Bonanza?
No. As far as I know, no. I've been hoping like that they would announce something for it. But I don't think they're going to, at least not right now. I think the idea behind Bonanza is to prove that people will go out and buy the game. But, I was able to pre-order everything to pick up on Thursday. Like, that was not a difficult thing to do. Right? Also from Best Buy, right? Not that they're a sponsor or anything, but just being honest about where we're looking and seeing them. So I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about Bonanza. It's something to talk about, right? Talking video games. But also, I don't know. I made my whole list of games that I care about. Outside of Bonanza, I don't think I'm excited for a game. Well, that's not true. On the 31st is the new Ninja Gaiden game, which I will definitely play through and then complain about here. No, I'm kidding. I really liked the demo, so I'm excited to see it. Like in a complete package.
You owe me a Paper Mario playthrough.
I do owe you a Paper Mario playthrough. I just haven't been playing. I am focused right now on getting to Prestige level 5 in Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. On Friday night, I started from Prestige 4 level 1. I got to 63. As of the recording of this, I am at 78. I will get to that Prestige level 5, and then I can do other things with my life. I have become hyper fixated on finishing Ghostbusters, whether or not I can get other people to play it with me. But yeah, you're right. We're going to start Pokemon yesterday, and then the day just got away from us with 100 other things that we ended up doing for fun, which was good, right? I'm happy about it, but All right. Anything else? I think at this time we should let the audience go, right? We should release them from this pocket dimension where we've captured them alongside our Twitter monkeys, #supershit, and our ex-girlfriends that we've put inside of cages.
Oh man. It's the only time you hear him swear. I really loved all the gollies and the G's and the
I mean I don't know. He was very Boy Scout Superman, and that does work for me. Like seriously, give him let's not kill this thing, and then the Justice Gang solution is we're gonna kill it. Like I also understand why even if they had offered him membership on that team, like official membership, he probably would have said no because I don't like what you guys stand for. Right?
That's true.
Yeah. Also, if he had membership on the team, he wouldn't be able to ignore the pan-dimensional being that's in the background of his conversation with Lois. I don't know. Yeah, so that's it. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Say Report. If you like what you heard, the conversation can keep going for you in our Discord. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, though Sejohn and I have to have a discussion because of what Grok declared at the on July 8th. Crazy world we're living in, right? It's insane that the AI keeps getting to that level, right, Sejohn? Like,
yeah. Well, especially, we're not talking about it.
We're not going to talk about it here, but it is. But we're going to, off mic, discuss maybe the X Formerly. But as of right now, Facebook, X Formerly, Twitter, there are invitations to join our Discord there. You can also contact us directly via email, thussayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join us in the Discord, or we can just converse like it's the old days and we're pen pals, and we write each other little emails. But if you are going to email us and you want something to go specifically to me, Devon Decker, or to him, Sejohn Sarwick, just make sure you put our name in the subject line and it will be distributed appropriately. That said, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully our spoilers on Superman, if you haven't seen the film yet, have not dissuaded you. We have not covered everything in the movie. They're still going on. So if you are still interested, go check it out. And William, we hope to have you on the show, but until then, please bring us home. We'll see you next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Sarwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.